back to my channel, Simply Queen by Sherelle. That's me, the seamstress. Today we are going to work on a quick and easy crafting project. So let's get started and enjoy. Okay, we're going to get started with our easy arts and crafts project. Again, I have two cross. I wanted a cross to go into my studio, as I stated, and I want something with that would match in with my oak countertops. So I found these two pieces which I really liked, and I didn't want to put up two, so I decided I'd just combine them together for a really cool arts and crafts project. So have whatever pieces, two crosses that you like. These were purchased at Hobby Lobby. One was $17.99 with 50% off, and the other was $13.99 with 50% off. So I have my two pieces. I have a piece of interfacing, and I have a scrap piece of fabric. So I use a lot of Ankara Fabric, which is African print fabric. And a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, all the time, the fabric comes with this label glued onto the fabric, and you have to go through a process to remove these. But to be honest with you, I don't recommend using this portion of the fabric because you can never really get all of the glue residue off. Now, if you're just making a piece for yourself and you don't mind the flaw, then have at it. But I never really use this portion of the fabric, so it becomes waste. So there was just enough on the opposite side that was usable for such a project, for small projects. So, you know, and you can use any fabric that you choose. Maybe you have some really nice novelty quilters fabric that you want to use. So it was a toss-up between this fabric and the fabric that I used to reupholster my sewing room chair. But I really like this piece, so I chose this piece. So you need your fabric, you need your fabric scissors, you need your paper scissors to cut your interfacing, because, well, for me, I do not use my fabric scissors to cut my interfacing. I use my paper scissors. You need a ruler, maybe, and you need some glue. Whatever your glue of choice is, I'm going to use this tacky glue, which you all probably have in your stash, and some tailor's chalk so that you can trace out the outline of whatever you're going to embellish on your fabric. And you just need an iron to press on the interfacing. And I'm going to preheat my iron right now while we work on this other section. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is, one, measure your fabric to make sure that you have enough fabric. And I can just tell I have enough fabric just by looking at this. So, but I'm going to double check. Okay. Yep. I have enough to clear this wasteful piece here. Okay. Now, I have already traced out the outline of this onto my fabric using a ballpoint pen. You can use tailor's chalk, ballpoint pen, whatever, because you're not going to see this line, so I'm not worried about you know, it showing through my project. Now, what you do need to do is sorry about that interruption. Okay, so I've already traced out the outline of my cross. Now, what I'm going to do to the back, and I traced it out on the right side of my fabric only because I wanted to make sure that it cleared this piece, but you can trace it out either on the reverse side of the fabric or the right side of the fabric. So now what I am going to do, because I want this to have some stiffness to it, is I am going to cut off this waist piece right now, and then on the back side I am going to apply some interfacing. I'm going to apply the interfacing before I cut it out. It's just going to be easier that way. So I'm going to cut this in half. Now, I would prefer to have shirting interfacing because it is, or woven interfacing. So if you have that, I would recommend you use that because it is a lot heavier. But because I am out of my woven interfacing, it's in there, I am just going to double up on this interfacing, and that will be just fine. Okay. All right. Now my yarn should be warm enough, and I need my spray bottle and my pressing cloth. Okay. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for your interfacing. Okay. I am going to give it a light spritz of water. I'm going to take my pressing cloth. I'm going to place it over, and then I am going to adhere it to my fashion fabric. Sorry about that. My lovely bracelets. I'll take them off. Okay. Move on to the next section. Steam. Okay. See here, it's pretty nice. Then I'm just going to press over the front. Now, if you're using tailor's chalk, and you may want to do, you can actually fuse your interfacing to your fabric piece before you trace out the outline if you've already measured how much you need. But because I traced mine on with a ballpoint pen, it's still there. Okay, so this is ready. I'll move this out of the way. Turn my art off. Okay. Now I am going to cut out my main piece. Okay, I'll turn this sideways, that way I know it's going to be in the shot. Okay, and then I'm going to figure out about where I want this centered. Okay. Okay. And that looks centered pretty good. Okay. All right. So that's good. And now I am going to take the right side and just double check that I've measured it properly. Okay. I can tell I have a little bit of overhang. So I'm just going to flip that over to check to see. Okay. So I'm going to go around the whole piece. You know what? I did that and I didn't follow. Yep. Okay. So what I did when I traced it out, I forgot to tell you this. I actually went in by 1/4 of an inch and made a marking to tell me that's actually where I want to cut. I'm going to come back in a second time and cut. Now that should be perfect. Yes. All right. Let me just double check because I want to cut out enough to clear that. Okay. And so it's perfect. Okay. And so now we're going to take our tacky glue . And we're just going to apply a thin layer about 1/4 of an inch from the inner line. And then I'm going to apply a light layer on the actual design piece. Now we're going to, with the right side, back side, interface side facing up, we are going to line it up. Try to line it up in the air perfect first so you're not moving it too much when you get it on here, because you don't want it to be covered with glue. And then just very gently smooth it down. Okay. Smooth it down. And then you might want to have a piece of newspaper or something to, when you flip it over, to lay it flat. I'm not worried about it. This is a cutting mat and it cleans up very easily. And so when you flip it over, you'll be able to see your beautiful fabric shining through. Okay, like that. Then we are going to take our second piece and we're going to apply our glue to the back of this piece. So once again, double check where you're going to place it, because once you put your glue on it, you don't want to shift it too much. Okay, so here, it's about here. Okay. So what I am going to do is I am going to take my chalk pencil. You don't have to do this. You can eyeball it if you want. And I'm just going to make a small mark here. And that's going to help guide me as to where I want this part to go. Right there. So I'm going to apply my glue. gently place it down, and it's exactly where I want it. Now I'm going to give it a gentle press. Firm, but not too firm so that it's shifting. Nothing has shifted. And I want to add a few more pieces to this to make it my own, suit me. I'm going to add a couple of cocoa beads to this, and I'm looking for some that are the same size. Okay, those are about the same size. Okay, and I'm trying to remember. Yes, I have some there. Okay, and here's our finished project. And I am going to let this dry while we go on our little field trip.